So this week's topic is feminism, and I'm gonna start this video with like this question riddle thing. You're gonna try and figure out what the answer is, and then I'll give you the answer at the end of the video. A dad is driving his son to school. They get in a terrible accident and the dad dies, and the son is rushed to a hospital. The surgeon comes into the room, looks at the boy, and says, "I can't operate on him, he's my son. How is this possible?" And now we'll get into the topic, feminism. First of all, what is feminism? Well, there are just a lot of definitions that people come up with. Common misconception is that it's all about women's rights. It's not. It's about gender equality, all that stuff. LGBT stuff ties in very closely with feminism because, you know, sexuality and gender identity has a lot to do with gender equality and gender expression, which has a lot to do with gender equality. So if you're part of the LGBT community, chances are your goals are very aligned. So if it's about gender equality, why is it called feminism? Because clearly the term feminism implies feminine or females or women. The root of feminism definitely is, you know, to recognize that women are an oppressed group in society. Even though there are not less women than there are men, really, in fact I think there are more women in the world than there are men, women are still considered a minority just because their status is, you know, they're oppressed. And that's kind of why I guess feminism is called feminism. So, obviously, there are a ton of people, you know, especially a lot of very powerful and intelligent women who are definitely aligned with the feminist goals and beliefs and ideals, but they do not want to identify under the label of feminism. And that kind of used to annoy me because basically they're saying I do not want to associate with that label because it has some sort of negative connotation. And I guess it would kind of annoy me because by these successful women or men or whoever that are fighting for gender equality, by them purposely not identifying with feminism, then they're giving it even more of a negative connotation. Like, if you're a successful person, then feminism is archaic, or, you know, whatever. Identifying as a feminist is not the same as being trans or being gay, but there are people who are gay who dislike being labeled as gay because they don't identify with the culture, and there are people who are transgender who do not identify as being transgender because they don't identify with the culture. And with feminism, the reason that it has a connotation more than just gender equality is because there really is a culture around feminism, just like there's a culture around any label. So in a way, it kind of makes sense to me that some people, they wouldn't identify as a feminist if they don't identify with the culture, even though they identify with the ideals. Get it? I mean, I don't know why I just went on that rant, but, you know, I don't know, it's just So let's talk about being a trans man and being a feminist. Now, it's something that I struggle with, that I know that is wrong, that I do, but I just do it automatically, is when I see a man identifying as a feminist, it almost feels patronizing to me, because it's like, you don't know what it's like you don't really know what you're fighting for. Or it comes off to me as, you know, they're saying, like, oh, we're gonna help the women, because they, you know, they clearly can't do it themselves, and we're just gonna, you're like, oh, good job, women, like, you can do it, like, I don't know, like, it doesn't matter how genuine they are, I always get that vibe that men, when they're identifying as feminists, that it like irks me, but I know that I shouldn't feel that way. And thinking of the concept right now, like, should men identify as feminists? Thinking of it right now in a general way, then yes, I encourage it. Like, I would love, like, everybody to be a feminist. Doesn't matter if you're a man, a woman, something else. Like, I think everyone should be a feminist, or at least align with their beliefs somehow. But it's automatic for me when I hear a man talking about that, and it's bad. It's a bad thing. But then another thing I struggle with is I struggle with the thought that women they're looking at me the same way, like, oh, look at that man, like, what does he know? Like, he doesn't know what I've been through. And I feel like, you know, there are trans men who will say, you know, I have no idea what it's like to be a woman, and even though I transitioned young, I still feel like I went through, like, sexism and being oppressed as a woman. Knowing what it's like shouldn't be, like, something you have to know in order to be a feminist. So regardless of that, like, I don't want to come off as patronizing, and I don't want to have to be like, oh, whoa, like, don't worry, like, I was a woman once, like, I can be a feminist. Like, that's not the route I want to take at all, because I support men being feminists, and men like me being feminists. Like, everyone should be a feminist, like I said. But there are plenty of feminists, men and women, who are, you know, very supportive of women and minorities and free gender expression. You probably, hopefully, are also one of those people, and you might think, well, I am not sexist. You're not sexist, but there is something about the society that has ingrained it in your head that women are less than men. Now, if you are a hardcore feminist, you might not believe me. You're saying, definitely not me. Like, I understand, for sure, like, I recognize women as equals. Maybe you're a woman yourself, and you have complete faith in yourself to be successful and do whatever you want, do anything a man can do, but you're still, subconsciously society has taught you that a woman is less than a man, has less of a voice. And that is really what feminism is about. It's not about equal rights, it's not about equal treatment, it's about changing the like internal subconscious mindset that we don't even know we have, that anyone is less or better or whatever gender-wise. It's about ending that. And people who are maybe anti-feminist will say women have all these rights, and I'm saying anti-feminist as in they agree that women should be equal, but they don't recognize that women are not yet equal. They think they are. They say women have these rights, there are all these, rich women, they have jobs and success and intelligence, and like they can do this and whatever, and feminism is unnecessary, like women are equals, like everyone knows that. Well, that's clearly not the case. So, here's an example. Is everyone ready for the answer to the riddle from the beginning of the video? If you haven't come up with an answer and you're stumped or whatever, then you're about to hear the answer. So if you still want to think about it, then you just have me paused or something. The surgeon was the boy's mom. That's the answer. Whoa, did it blow your mind? Did you guess that? Because if you guessed that, you have stuck it to the man. I was so ashamed of myself for not thinking that. I was like, I don't get it. What, his dad died and how is that his son? What, I don't understand. And you think surgeon man. And what was most interesting about this riddle to me, not the fact that I didn't get it, but the fact that out of the class of 20 so self-identifying feminists, women who identified as feminists, not a single person in the class, I think, guessed that. They were all stumped. We knew we were discussing feminism. It was like we should have been trained to even look for that because of the topic of the class. But even when we knew we were reading a feminist theory book, and even though we were all feminists and we believed that women can definitely be successful surgeons, none of us assumed that that was his mom. And that is another example of how society's just got us all fucked in the brain right now. And that's why we need feminism. That's really literally why. Fight for rights all day, but the rights aren't going to change the inner workings of the brain and society as a whole. And what will? I don't know. Is it possible? I don't know. I don't know. Be a feminist.